As we move and as we shape the future of reproductive health supplies, what would you say are your three or maybe two key takeaways? And as a leader of this coalition, what are those three takeaways for you that is going to help shape the future of reproductive health supplies?
I'm gonna grab the three if you're willing to offer them to me, if that's okay. So I think, of course, the issue of financing of reproductive health supplies is critically important. It's always been a big issue. It's particularly important in the post-COVID world, or the sort of long tail of COVID that we're now living through, where the fiscal space, the availability of that financing is somewhat constrained, and where some really tough choices and some clever choices about diversifying how those supplies of finance need to be made. We don't want that heavy burden to fall on women, on families in terms of out-of-pocket payments for these supplies. And so we need to be increasingly innovative with those donor resources, of course, and with the precious domestic resources that we just heard from Dr. Abaji of the Ghana Health Service are being put into reproductive health supplies. So that innovative thinking around the financing is the first of the three themes I would say to you. The second, I think, is one of inclusion. And I want to talk for a moment about gender and reproductive health supplies. Globally, women make up about 30% of the supply chain workforce, but only about 5% in senior leadership positions in supply chains. And if you think about the reproductive health supply chains, we have a lot of work to do here in growing female leadership, and our membership are thoroughly committed to this. And we're very excited as RHSC to be investing in the supply chain leaders of tomorrow through several scholarship and other programs we have, including targeted investment, clear investment in developing female supply chain leaders of tomorrow. And then the third area, and it's hard to say only three, but I'll leave it to three, is just to talk about the regional manufacturing of reproductive health supplies. When we look back to China and India 30, 40, 50 years ago, there were no reproductive health supplies being manufactured at scale in those countries. Today, those countries are manufacturing a very large proportion of the reproductive health supplies that find their way all around the world, including here in Ghana and in Africa generally. I think we're starting to take some steps, and there are lots of wonderful manufacturers and countries that are putting in place really excellent first step policies, financing, quality regulation to make sure that in 20 or 30 years' time, we are talking about Africa as a hotbed, as a hub of a mainstay of the manufacturing of reproductive health supplies. And I think it's a very exciting journey. It's one for those of us who are perhaps a little bit older. We hope to see that time. And for those who are a bit younger, I'm thoroughly convinced that that time will come, and that Africa manufacturing our RH supplies, and those supplies being closer to the women and men and adolescent boys and girls that they serve, the families they serve, that will come to fruition and that will be realized.